So Gary, we're going to make some changes to the agenda.
Yes, so just, Madam Chair, as we have a couple items here and maybe a couple members that have to leave a little bit early tonight, I would suggest that we take the reserve fund transfer for the Dartmouth Public Schools out of order and the minutes, just so that there's enough members available to vote on those items.
Excellent.
So on the first one, the reserve fund transfer, you might have heard that when Mr. Kiley had come to the CIPC meeting a couple of weeks ago, he had mentioned the generator having issues.
Right.
And this was service on the generator. Now, keep in mind, this also is for the lights in the building. It is for, this is at the middle school. This is for lights in the building. This is for, perishables in the refrigeration for the
Is it an
cafeteria.
emergency shelter, Gary? Is it an emergency shelter that people will go to in the?
No, it is not.
No.
No, okay.
So what that means is, it's down, it was down, so they've done the repairs, and this was unexpected. So this would be a transfer from the Finance Committee's reserve fund as it was unforeseen. And again, this is a repair to their diesel generator. So you have the information. I sent the packet to you. I sent
Motion to approve.
photos.
I heard the presentation.
I'll second.
Discussion? Anything else we need to know about that before we vote? Questions, anyone?
There was just one thing I had seen on the, when you sent over the invoice, it said, billing address, middle school, service address, high school, or I think, or maybe it was flip-flopped. Where's the actual, service location? The generator's located?
Quinn.
Quinn, okay.
Yeah, I sent the photos. You might have seen the crane.
Oh, okay.
I believe it was a crane out there.
Okay, I just thought, I think on their statement, it might have been.
They probably changed that. There wasn't.
I didn't realize how big it was until I looked at the photo. I think generator, I think of the one I have.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the pull stop. Yeah, no, this is a huge diesel generator. I mean, think about how big the building is to,
No, understood.
Do we know how old it is?
Old.
probably, I would say, probably
Jim said it, I can't recall.
15, maybe it was 15.
That old?
It's old, it's.
Got it.
Older than
I think
anybody
20
remembers.
plus- 20 plus years old, And it doesn't do the whole building.
Just the emergency.
Yeah,
Some lights, some plugs, and like the.
Refrigeration.
Yeah.
So did they consider a new one?
they did not, yeah, this was, it wasn't part of the capital plan, I'd say. It was more, we were talking about items for the schools. It came up in conversation that the generator was down. Whether or not they're considering a brand-new one, I think that this repair will hold them off until, the decision is
Yeah,
made to
it's-
purchase a new one, if they have to.
I mean, we can't do anything about it, but I hope they looked at, hey, we put in, money into this, and this generator is at the end of its life, and why are we doing that?
I think Jim did mention at the meeting that a generator that size would probably be north of $500,000.
Yeah.
And probably a 40
Yeah.
40-week lead time. They would need to make those repairs on a more immediate basis and plan for eventually replacing it, unless, of course, we build a new middle school. Maybe it gets you to fill the gap.
Let's stick with $37,000.
Yeah,
I think we can all agree on that right now.
Yeah.
Are we ready to vote on this?
Yes.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. The next item I would suggest is that we take the minutes for the meeting that was, I had sent those over to the group.
Does somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second it.
So any, excuse me, discussion on the minutes, what is that, February 5th?
February 5th or the 13th? What are we voting on?
Oh, it's the 12th. The meeting was last Thursday.
No, but the minutes that Gary sent, right, aren't those, that's the February 5th?
Oh, that was, okay, I beg your pardon. Yeah, okay.
That's correct, right? That's what it's my, yeah,
Is
there you
everybody
go.
voting on, is that the 5th? Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's the agenda, oh, is that?
No,
is
those are the
meeting?
minutes.
Oh, those are the minutes.
Any questions or
No.
concerns?
Yeah, good.
We're ready to vote?
Sorry about that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I did notice that the style is abbreviated, and I wonder if somebody talked to Elizabeth about doing more bullets or writing more briefly. She used to write pages and pages.
Well, we don't have, Elizabeth is no longer doing our minutes, it's someone new.
Oh, that's why it's different.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had requested, obviously it was a new person that was doing the minutes, so we had requested a little bit more detail on the minutes.
Yeah.
So she's gone back and, going forward, she'll be providing that to the group.
Okay.
More detail on the minutes.
It does seem like it already changed a little
Yes.
bit from the
Yes.
first minutes, were pretty condensed.
Yeah.
I know, we're very spoiled from our other minutes, they were books. I could go back and relive the meeting. Okay, let's go back to our agenda. I think we're done with those. Tim, are you ready for us?
Yes, I am.
Can you introduce yourself for the cameras and our big listening audience?
Good evening, Tim Barber, Director of Public Works. This is our current organizational chart for the Department of Public Works, including the Board of Public Works, Director of Public Works, Assistant Director of Public Works, Administration and Engineering, Services and Infrastructure. Water Pollution Control and Water and Sewer Division would be lower if you scroll down. Or not.
Can we make that screen bigger?
Sure, let me just
Enlarge it a
see.
little bit. Right side icon. That might be helpful.
Is that better?
Yeah, thank you very much.
This screen's tough with a large budget.
We say it's tough with anybody's budget.
So we go through the administration, the salaries they were increased without a COLA, cost of living increase at $552,408.96, which is a 3.1% increase. So that includes professional salaries and clerical. On engineering, we actually had a reduction in salaries from, I'm sorry, the administration expenses were level funded in the administration budget. On the engineering, the salaries, there was a reduction in $44,243, which was an 8% reduction. And that is due to, basically, we had a couple vacancies in engineering from long tenured employees, which were at top step. So we hired a number of, we hired 3 new engineers, 2 of them at a lower step, at step 1. So that, just that alone was about 30,000 less. And then
Excuse me, what's the staffing level of, how many engineers you have?
we have 4 engineers and a senior engineer.
Senior engineer. And the senior engineer act as a lead to the other 4
Yes.
engineers? Okay.
Yes.
Tim, I have a question. I
Yes.
know that
Bless you.
Patrick had submitted questions ahead of time that are sort of interspersed amongst this. Are you going to try to address those as we hit them in the,
Yes, as I can. That was one of them.
okay, I thought so.
Yep.
Okay, good, thank you.
In highway, I'm sorry, expenses, again, for expenses, we level funded expenses throughout engineering. In highway, we increased our salary budget to $1,237,144.56, which is a 6.5% increase. And our expenses were increased to $697,700, which is a 10.6% increase. Our snow and ice salaries are only overtime salaries, and we increased that to $100,000 from $51,975, so that was a 92.4% increase. And that was due to the last few years, we've overspent that budget. I think in 2024, we overspent by about 30,000. And last year, we spent about by 50,000, and this year will be well above that, as we have another storm pending for this coming weekend. We're continuing to treat this week. We treated last night, we'll be treating again tonight, as we have wet roads and fluctuating temperatures just above freezing to below freezing, so I know this budget typically gets overspent, but we're just trying to balance that a little better, so we have an idea of what we're getting into. On the expense side, we level funded the expense side. And we'll see what we expended. We just bought, I think 1,100 ton of salt, and we just got delivered 800 ton. We were almost out of salt, and we were mixing with sand. So we just started getting in deliveries the last couple of days. So they delivered between 800 and 900 ton in the last couple of days. So we're pretty stocked up right now.
Janine on there.
Yes.
So, on the salaries, you're putting in for a big increase, you're level funding the expenses. Is that prudent if you're thinking you're trying to prevent these large fluctuations you have in it? Well, your expenses go up. If you're paying a lot of overtime, well, they're throwing a lot of salt on the ground, so that expense is gonna go through the roof too. So wouldn't it be prudent to raise, if you're really trying to solve that problem on this large swings, to ask for an increase on the expense side? I'm just throwing that out there.
What does the trending look like, Jim, for the last, say, few years?
So in 2024, we did overspend by about 30,000 in expenses. In 2025, we overspent by about 1,000, just under 1,000. And we did increase the budget last year for that. And
I'm just asking, you're confident
Yeah.
that the expense side isn't gonna, if you're running more hours on a truck, I would think your expenses are gonna go up too.
Just a little bit of clarification. The committee may or may not know this, but snow and ice is one of the only accounts that can be overdrawn. It just gets raised on the recap once that gets figured out through the tax certification. So if in fact Tim does overspend on this account, and I think that he's probably trying to get it as close as he can, that is one that can be overspent. It's allowed to be overspent under Mass General law.
so as of last week, we were at 63% expenditures on
For the,
for the purchasing of salt. So we'll see where that ends up, at the end of the year. And like I said, like Gary said, it's a big fluctuation
Yeah,
every
no.
year. So it's hard to
big unknown, I understand.
not to go too
Yeah.
high, but our trend on overtime has been increasing every year. So we can definitely use that addition. And
I thought when we hired a new director, he'd have more control of the weather, but I guess I was mistaken.
No, I did put a call into Mother Nature.
Nice.
Yeah, but we've pretty much level funded our overtime throughout the years too. So, trying to meet up with what we've been expending as well, so.
Quick question. So we got this presentation in an email, and then we also got like the Munis reports in an email. They're somewhat different. Which one is the one that we'll be voting on? Is it this
Is the Munis report's a little bit higher?
the Munis report for this particular line item, the highway? It's showing a total 2027 department request of $1,931,930. I think when you add these two up, it's slightly different. The salaries on the Munis report is 1,182,230, and the expenses are 749,700. So I think the salaries are a little lower, but the expenses are a little higher on Munis. But I think when you net them when you add them together, it's about $4,000 or $5,000 difference.
You know, much.
Have there been any
Have you changed it?
structural changes in terms of staff, or
There have.
there have?
I mean,
Okay.
we've had, especially in highway, we're pretty much fully staffed for drivers.
But those are positions that were already in the budget.
Yes.
Is there anything being added this year in
Yeah,
the
the
budget?
business manager.
Okay,
And not in highway, but it's not in highway. It's in admin, general fund, solid waste, water, and sewer.
and does that explain some of the increases, or,
In the other budgets, yeah.
okay.
In some of the other budgets.
You only see a $25,000 increase in each of the four that Tim just mentioned, though. So anything beyond that is not because of the business manager.
Right.
And that was the question that I had asked, because I could see that popping up in 4 different locations, 4 or 5 different locations.
Yes, yeah, because we're
So it
splitting
was
that
split across the,
across the enterprise funds and.
are you going to,
shared
is that
services.
going to be presented in some manner to town meeting as a position?
Well, no, town meeting doesn't approve
I
new
get that.
positions.
It's more like understanding, because right now, when you look at those line items, it almost looks a little sneaky. I have no other word, because you've got person, 25,000, oh, another one, 25,000, oh, another one, 25,000. And if you, first glance, when I first looked at it, I went, there's no way they're getting a business manager for $25,000.
I mean, sure, if there's recommendations on how to present that.
Oh, it's a new position, and I think it's
Yeah, but
important
the-
for
the
people to
school-
know.
So the schools, for instance, has 15 new positions. We don't go through and discuss every single one of those.
Except that I know that when Jim Kiley presents the budget, he clearly states he has
Yeah, yeah.
those new positions.
So that's what we're doing here
This is just Excel
tonight.
spreadsheet stuff.
Yeah, but I mean,
Versus
I've-
saying, here's a new position and this is what it'll do.
Right.
But
Yeah.
the purpose of this is to prevent what we've been seeing in this
Oh,
budget, right?
absolutely, I don't
Okay.
disagree, but
It's just making it clear to
I get it,
people.
but saying it's sneaky is not.
Oh, to me, when I
That's how-
first
but
looked
that's how
at
we
it,
have to fund it. We
there
have to
was-
fund it that way.
I understand. I'm just saying, when I first looked at it, all I had was spreadsheets. And as you go through them, that's all I could see was a line item thrown in here, that here and there for $25,000. And that wasn't a clear explanation. That's what I'm
I did mention it at
asking.
the last meeting, and Tim's presenting tonight on that, so I get what you're saying, but to say it was sneaky,
That's,
not.
maybe it's not the best word, but it doesn't look like it's clearly stating there's a brand-new position that's being funded for, it must be at least $100,000. I didn't do the math.
So what is it, just split up between,
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
'cause it'll
split. I know
support
why
each
they
of the
did
four,
it.
yeah.
that's what it is. All they're doing is splitting up.
I get that. It's just not clear that it's a brand-new position, and there's no explanation so far
Well, would
that
it-
I didn't see of what the responsibilities are.
I mean, that could be part of our rationale. You can,
Well, I
I'm
also
not
think,
disagreeing with the position.
I also think there could be a cover sheet that says, changes in personnel.
Yeah,
It may look like that we're paying the person 25,000, no, money for that position's coming from other parts of the budget. And that should be enough to explain to people, because,
It's something typical that you'll see in the DPW budget is the splitting of salaries throughout.
Yeah.
You know, where some are funded through general fund, and then since we have 3 enterprise funds, they'll be split throughout the enterprise funds if they're working.
I get why it was
yeah.
done financially. It's
Yeah.
because people do like to know that a new position was added to the town.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm asking for, is that I think people want to know it's a brand-new position. And, you know, what's the benefit of it, that type of thing.
So we've got the detail up there for the accounts, we'll go off the munis reports, which is a little bit kind of what we're doing, standardized on the other departments, so. We were on highway, Tim. And the committee has these.
yeah, yep.
what's the overall increase in the budget, Tim?
11.7%.
Okay. And if you think back on this year, what do you think is an achievement that you're very happy with, that you feel like you could share that with people and say, you know, this is some of the work that the DPW is doing?
I'd say one of the big projects is the 579 Westport Road facility, where it's about, I'd say, 90 to 95% complete, in getting that contact pipe and the backwash, and just for, you know, water quality, sustainability, and you know, resilience.
Yeah.
You know, I think it'll be great, and we're hoping to have that online.
So I don't know if you remember, I think it was last year or the year before, Buddy did a piece on his department and explained kind of what had been done over the years and what was being proposed now. And I think one of the points that Janine's making is when we give these spreadsheets to town meeting, you know, 6.9, 1760, it doesn't really mean a lot. So I think it really does need some translation into like a cover sheet
narrative.
that says narrative, but then, yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be big, but something that would explain to a kindergartner what's going on, you know, not, it's just a lot to absorb.
Yeah, like we paved and surfaced about 9 miles of road this year. We spent $4 million and all that, you know, split between Eversource cost sharing, $743,000 out of road maintenance articles, and the rest out of Chapter 90 and fair share funding.
And see, that's information that the town meeting does want to know. They ask those questions, but it's done kind of piecemeal. If there's something on the top that explains where the tax money's gone, why they should be happy about it, I think that would make a big difference.
No, that makes a lot of sense, Tara, because we do have so many roads in town, and there's a lot of work we know that your department does, absolutely. So it's nice to, you have to, not that you have to justify it to us per se, but
Put it out
town
there.
meeting wants to know.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And speaking of roads, I know last year, one of the main things was the cost of asphalt had gone kind of through the roof. Are we still trending up as far as that goes? And also, with the increased snow and ice this year, is that going to kind of, I don't know how to really put it, but screw up the roads that we just did? Are we going to see like more repair costs over the next few years because of the ice and snow we've had this current year?
Yes, so we have a contract that's usually negotiated for a 3-year term with our asphalt companies. So that they're allowed to increase at a max of 25% throughout the life of the contract.
Okay.
So we won't see any high increases until that end of that 3rd year.
Until it renegotiates?
And that's what happened last year when we ended the previous 3-year contract. It increased by 60%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Thank
I
you.
do expect to see some increases, but I think it's plateaued more than the increases that we saw previously.
Okay, thank you.
As far as the snow and ice, it's the extreme freezing temperatures, you know, that have actually, there are some heaves in some of the roads. You'll see some frost heaving. And we've also had a number of water main breaks due to that freeze and thaw and the movement of the soils.
Yep.
So we had one today, we had another one earlier this week. We've been going, our guys have been going out repairing water mains in between, treating roads and, and plowing. It's been tough. So we'll definitely see some additional repairs and some more costs and
It just kind of
road repairs.
snowballs. It
Yeah,
just,
yeah, just based on the
it
freeze and
piles on.
thaw,
sure, thank you.
And, you'll see more potholes pop up because as it expands when it freezes and contracts when it thaws out, and that asphalt can't handle that.
Sure.
And it
Thank you.
breaks up. You're welcome.
Quick question. With an 11% overall increase, with the addition of 1 FTE so the rest of that is all expense and step increases? And that's not including the collective bargaining?
Capital.
Correct.
Any cost of living adjustment or anything from the comp and class study, that's just current step increases. I mean, you'll see a lot of it is expense related. One of the things, if you've looked at the, not just the highway, but all of their budgets, is when the three of us started looking at the trends, we've been overspending year over year, and we haven't made adjustments in probably 5 years to really what we should be. So we really are putting together what's actually needed, what we're actually spending this year, I think, which is different than has been done in the past few years.
And I
How are
think
those
that's important.
overrides, I mean, those overruns reconciled, line item transfers?
Well, if it's outside of the line, yes, then it has to go through line item transfer. A lot of it has been, so town meeting approves the DPW expense, right? They don't approve the sublines. So anything on that one line, you can shuffle internally without that line item transfer. So there's been some of that, but yeah, there's been some line item transfers as well.
Even on the line items like repair and maintenance, if you look at, well, I mean, let's look at oil changes, what they cost, 2-3 years ago. Look at like brake pads, what they cost 2-3 years ago. That's almost doubled in the budgets now. Just the repair and maintenance on vehicles.
And then the snow and ice is, you don't necessarily see, because it just gets raised on the recap when we file with DOR.
And what I'm just trying to wrap my head around is, so we're talking about an 11% increase this year to adjust for consistent overruns in past years, which were reconciled by line item transfers, not additional appropriations to the department.
Reserve fund transfer 1 year.
Yeah, well, in some cases, it could be I don't have the line item transfer history in front of me, but line item transfer could be from another department. So we could
Another
transfer
department
funds.
within the budget, so you could take it from town hall and put it.
Yeah,
to
so
DPW.
police, anything within the budget that requires the finance committee and the select board. But it's, you saw the significant increase in the snow and ice. It's a 90% increase. That's a big part of it right there. And that has been raised on the recap.
Got it.
Yeah, this is truing up all, prior years, as Cody mentioned, prior years of expenses that weren't, we can continue to budget $50,000, let's say, for a line item for electric. But in reality, if in fact the trend is 70,000, at some point in time, we've got to make that account be more realistic to what is actually being spent.
But Gary, that's indicative of most towns now anyway, that have issues with snow and ice removal.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's going through that because it's unexpected. A lot of, just watching the news, a lot of, Tim's going through, running out of salt and sand, and waiting for deliveries because they ran out of what they had stocked up and now they got to order more, and that's very prevalent throughout the Commonwealth and Rhode Island as well.
And then that 11% is also inclusive of the enterprise funds or
Yes.
just DPW? So
All.
it's everything,
Entire budget.
DPW, water enterprise fund, sewer enterprise fund,
Solid
solid
waste
waste
and
enterprise fund.
So if you look in the past budgets, we've chased these increases as we see vehicle maintenance increases. We increase a certain percentage to bring it up, but we haven't gone and increased those line items over that expenditure amount to have additional cushion. But that's what we did this time. Where I've always felt that, especially in the enterprise funds, when you do that, it hits the rates harder. So we try not to, get that. But then in the end, if you overexpend your bottom line, you're doing a transfer. The 11% also includes a very large increase in the water pollution control enterprise fund. So that was a $900,000 increase based on currently our biosolids from the wastewater treatment facility are dehydrated, and then we have a wood chipper, and all the brush that the public brings in, and sometimes we have to purchase additional wood. We grind that to a fine mulch, and then we mix it with the biosolids, and we create a what's called a grade A compost product that has been marketed for land application for many years, and it was a high sought after product, and the DEP is looking to regulate and possibly ban land applications of biosolids. And the vendor that we currently use to market and transport and sell our biosolid compost is closing down their facility in Maine, and they'll no longer be in the business. So their estimate to just truck out and haul our biosolids was over $1 million per year.
Now,
As we make revenue off that annually, so we're going from a revenue to $1.2 million expenditure.
that was gonna be my question. It's like we were making money and now we're almost $1 million in the negative on the same exact thing.
Correct.
Look what
Overnight.
happened with like recyclables, with metals. You know, at one point, we were hauling things away and getting whatever per ton. Now it's like an expense to get rid of it because no one wants it.
Yeah.
You know, it becomes difficult.
Just to clarify, I just added it up, apologize, I didn't do this in advance, but it looks like the DPW, minus the enterprise funds, we're talking about a $115,000 net increase, which is much less than 11%. So most of the percentage increase is coming from the enterprise funds, probably predominantly that.
Yeah, if you looked at the detail, you'll see that a lot of these are, again, we've made adjustments, but as much as we could, we've level funded a lot of these line items. Want to pick up next on construction, Tim?
Gary, what page are you on?
What page am I on?
this
There it
is-
is.
33 on the Munis page.
Oh, these are
One.
yours.
You're on a Munis report, not,
Yeah, it was either the Munis report that I had sent out to the group.
okay.
Of course, I already with me.
They're all in one tab, they go down from the top.
So in the construction division, the salaries were slightly decreased to $704,682.83 with a 0.2% decrease, which is just due to, moving employees around with different salaries. Expenses were increased by 1.8% at $600. Any questions on construction? I know one of my board members did question the construction and the fleet divisions, how they're really minimal increases and recommended requesting, increases to meet kind of the consumer pricing index, where I guess my explanation is that the fleet in the construction division, a lot of their work is billable. So it's billable to, whether it's Chapter 90 or the road maintenance when they're out doing road work. Same with the fleet, a lot of the fleet maintenance done, it's a central fleet garage, and any fleet done on different departments is billable to those departments, so. So the fleet, on the fleet side, we had a slight increase at 1.4%, which equals to $5,634.56. And on the expense side of fleet, we had a $300 increase at 1%.
Fleet maintenance, the next,
Yeah, that was fleet.
okay. Anybody with questions on the fleet maintenance division?
And just looking at fleet maintenance, again, during snow and ice, every time we have a snowstorm and the trucks are going out plowing and spreading salt and sand, a lot of times, there are a number of trucks that come in with maintenance issues. I was there for the big storm, and, one truck came in with a blown turbo, another one came in with with a mechanical issue with the spreader, so that's constantly throughout that storm. They're coming in with maintenance issues, and then, in between storms, they're trying to get these trucks up and running. And as Gary said earlier about maintenance of vehicles, and the cost for just the brake pads for a solid waste vehicle is about $5,000. Just for a brake upgrade, just the materials is about $5,000.
And how long do those last?
Not long, with the amount of roads and the stop, constantly
Oh
on
my
the gas and on the brakes, on the gas and on the brakes, every house,
Does it last a season?
I don't even know if it lasts a full season.
Oh, my God.
So now we'll look at the, now we'll look at the enterprise funds. Start with water, right, Tim? That's the next one.
Okay.
Hi, John.
So on the water salaries, we had a 1% increase at $11,306.16, that from up to $1,137,089.16. Whereas Gary had it a little higher. On the expense side, we had an 11% increase at $3,854,505. And the increases in water were primarily, we increased the line item purchasing water from the city of New Bedford. We're hoping not to see that, having to purchase at that rate in this coming year as we get the Pinelli wells back on and we're able to provide more water. But
What's going on with that, Tim? Is any conversation with Fall River? Is there any meeting to negotiate price with New Bedford?
yeah, so I did meet with the city of Fall River, and they are interested in selling water. Currently, I have the plans from Westport as well. They sent me the construction plans. They designed the water main extension just about up to the town line, but not under the culvert at
Right.
Lake Nokichoke. That's estimated at approximately $5 million.
Okay,
And I think that was estimated back when they did that first extension, so it's probably
more.
increased by at least, 3 to 6%. And on top of that, you also have to fund the interconnection, whether it's a pump or if you have to add more treatment. So you need a facility there to do additional work, so that's an expense. The cost, it would probably have to be negotiated. They do charge, a percentage above for interconnections. And then, they do allow a drop rate. So if you have an agreement, you'd come to an agreement on purchasing a certain amount of water every year. Once you hit that amount of water, they would drop the tier of your expense. So you'd pay a little less after you hit that threshold.
Is that how it works with New Bedford?
No, I did request that from the city of New Bedford, and they're currently working on updating our interconnection agreement. So they haven't come to us with that yet, with whether or not they're going to entertain that.
Well, knowing them, they'll give us a step tier. You hit a certain amount, we'll go up.
Nice.
When we reached a certain level with the wells, as Cody pointed out to me last meeting, the wells shut down. So with that being said, can we really anticipate buying less water from New Bedford and consequently a decrease in expenses?
So the level that you're talking about, it's a flow within the Pascamanset River. So there's a gauge on Russell's Mills Road that USGS reads, and based on that flow, when that drops to a certain level, we have to shut down some of our wells.
Right.
So the wells that we have to shut down are only our registered wells that are along the Pascamansa River in that watershed. So wells along other, like the Pinelli wells aren't in that watershed, we don't have to shut those wells down.
Right.
And any permitted wells, we don't as well.
But the fact that you have to shut some, I'm just saying, if.
Yes.
I don't,
Yeah.
way it sounds, we may not be able to decrease, the purchasing of water from New Bedford because of that reason.
Yeah, so we will have to still shut those wells down if we have a drop in that flow. But we haven't had the Pinelli wells on since 2020
Oh, okay.
online.
All right.
So we've been working without those wells since 2020 and working on the upgrade at the 579 plant. So once this is back online, which I'm hoping within the next few weeks, we can start bringing those online and testing them. And then once they're all tested and functioning well, we can bring them back online completely.
How many wells do we have in town? To refresh my memory,
15, I think?
15 of them?
Were the Pinelli wells the wells that were struck by lightning?
No, that was the 299.
So the wells are just like a series of unfortunate events, and
In
it's kind of
2020, we had a really intense rainstorm. It was about 6-inch rainstorm.
Yep.
And because these wells are shallow and some of them, they're located in areas with wetlands and organics.
Yep.
We had a bacteria hit.
Oh yes.
So,
Okay.
That's right.
so years ago, you could sanitize those wells, retest the raw water, and as long as that came back negative, you could turn those wells back on. But
Yep.
now the Water Management Act and the groundwater rule requires us to either issue a boil water, so boil water order, or have what they call a CT, which is a contact time
Yep.
pipe system or a forelog, to increase the amount of time that the chemical treatment is in contact with the water before it goes out to the street and the
Okay.
public. So we didn't have that at the facility. So, so that's what we're doing now.
Sure.
So once that's back online, if that ever happened again, we could keep pumping
Sure.
while we test.
And I think like a main thing that's affecting us in the biosolids, the water, is regulations. I mean,
Yes,
it's just
it is.
hammering
It is.
us.
It is, it's regulations. So back when that happened, like the Mattapoisett, Marion, Rochester, Fairhaven, they had the same issue and they had the same bacterial hit.
Yep.
And they issued a boil order because they didn't have a supplemental supply like we do with New Bedford.
Sure.
So, we, rather than issue a boil order, which is kind of a, morale kill and, for your customers, and we would have had to keep doing it till today, till we had this online, so we, we bit the bullet and we spent more money purchasing water from the city of New Bedford, but we didn't expect it to, the peak demand to keep increasing like
Sure.
it has.
Yep.
And it has. In the interim, while those wells were down, we also the Violetta wells were down too, because they were under construction. So we were replacing the Violetta wells, and the Pinelli wells went down, so we just shut the plant down.
Yep.
And then a couple years after that, we had the 299 got struck by lightning.
Yep.
And it blew the transformers. So that was during a large storm where Eversource couldn't even get transformers to lend us. So we had to wait 12 weeks to get transformers, and they came in damaged.
Yep.
So we got them back and got them shipped, got them installed. Then another storm hit and blew all the underground electric at the same facility.
So it's just been one thing after another.
Yeah, so we had to excavate and replace all the underground electric at that plant as well.
Well, hopefully now with all these things kind of coming to a head, it can decrease our dependence on New Bedford. And if we could get a different connection and say, hey, now we can kind of go between you two and say who's going to give us a good rate and
Correct.
hopefully not be so dependent upon it.
We try to keep it between, 17 and 23%
Yep.
purchasing from New Bedford. And that year, we actually purchased over 50% of our water from the city of New Bedford. So we actually supplied less than half.
Yeah.
So that was a big kill on the budget and retained earnings. So we're hoping to get back to that between that 15 to
More- no
15
more
to
problems.
25% range.
So that $2 million, excuse me, that's $2 million line item, that's the purchase of water from New Bedford, WNS,
Yes,
EXP.
that's it.
So we're forecasting to purchase as much water from New Bedford in FY '27 as we did in FY '26. In FY '28, are we anticipating seeing that come down? Or, like, would we,
Well,
if everything goes well,
so the challenge with
Like
that
lightning.
is that, that figure that you see from last year is actually about 400,000 more, right? 400,000 or 500,000 more, because a number of that was transferred to a different account due to the significant overrun. So it was actually 2.5 million, not the 1.89 or whatever that is.
so then we're forecasting slightly less.
Right, because of this well coming online and
when it's coming, yeah.
recognizing that even with the shutdown, if we're in a drought over the summer, the Pinelli wells will still be able to operate, and we haven't had that for the past 5 years.
And then, so fast forward, if we can get our crystal ball out for FY '28, if all goes well and everything is functioning, there's no lightning storms, do we anticipate that $2 million coming down to something else, or?
And we would definitely look at it. Things, costs typically don't go backwards, they don't typically go down. But if we were to see a trend, we could definitely look at that. We would like to see it go that way.
Yep.
What you're saying, we may be purchasing less water, that's what you're saying.
Yes,
Yeah,
and,
that's
but,
what- the
so,
price, it's the water.
so if that happens, that unexpended balance goes back into retained earnings and can be used for capital, and you kind of build that buffer,
Which is something we'll need
absolutely.
going forward,
Yeah.
particularly given
Yeah,
the
because
state of our water.
we have a
and
number
price
of
on it.
capital projects to bring our other wells back up to speed. We have our 299 and our 687. We have projects we have wells down in those facilities as well. For capacity reasons, capacity of the pipe infrastructure, where the demand wasn't there years ago, so a certain size pipe was used, but to bring those pumps up to full capacity for the demand that's needed now, you need a larger pipe network. So we have these capital projects laid out in our capital plan to continue upgrading these facilities so we can use all of our wells.
Got it, thank you.
You're welcome. And as we see, we have, about 1,200 units of housing proposed in town. It doesn't look like there's gonna be less use, so we're also looking at that higher use. Any other questions on water?
You have sewer next to him?
Okay. Sewer. Oh, is that water pollution control or sewage?
So that's water pollution.
So our salaries increased at about just over 1.5% to $1,280,824. And our expenses increased about, that's the 53.4% at $2,684,507, and that includes the $900,000 increase to the biosolids.
So those types of increases, so I'm assuming we'll have another rate study coming up at some point. Those types of increases will be factored into the next, they're not currently in the current
They
rate
are
study,
not,
because
no.
we didn't know about it at that time. But going forward, the rate study will account for this new cost,
Exactly.
and then we'd have to see rates
Adjust for those
just
costs.
to make up for. Now, in the meantime, until that happens, is it gonna be a draw on retained earnings?
We're gonna need to, we will do an analysis for July 1 for a rate increase. Yeah, So
So
you'll,
the-
you'll see a rate increase for July 1.
July
based
1,
on-
yeah.
Based on this budget.
Yeah, so the vendor, our contractor that currently hauls our finished compost biosolids, their contract ends in October. So they'll still be hauling our composted biosolids until that time. And we will try to have them take as much as they can, so we do have some time to stockpile before we have to haul. And then we're working on negotiating with other vendors to haul in different forms. Because if you look at the city of New Bedford, they haul liquid sludge, so they don't dehydrate their sludge or to create they call it a cake. They just haul it right out, and that's even more expensive. Where we have the process in place, and we actually reconstructed through ARPA funding some of our large mechanical equipment that dehydrates the sludge. So, if we continue with that process of dehydrating the sludge, we're hoping that we can get rid of it for a lower price than what we've been estimating. And there was a recent DEP meeting and discussing, other potential, discharge locations. So a lot of times, there were 2 incinerator plants in Rhode Island. And one of them, Fall River, takes their biosolids to. They're closing down because they don't want an incineration plant in their city anymore. So the other options are putting it on a freight train to Ohio, which is huge cost. So,
Lucky Ohio.
yeah, right. Currently, until they can't take it anymore, right? So,
I mean, really.
yeah.
I
So-
mean, it's a major concern for everybody. Do you have any idea how our costs for that compare to aside from New Bedford, other communities?
I don't, there aren't, so we're one of the sole communities that actually compost our biosolids in this area. So it's hard to compare to because a lot of other facilities, they just haul. So they're already paying that cost. So we've been making revenue on what everybody's been paying on.
But not anymore,
Not
is what you're
anymore.
saying.
Correct.
And then I know that obviously the biosolids increase is a hefty increase, but also there's been talk about the treatment plant, and I know we are going to need one at some point. Is there any time frame as far as when we'll exceed our capacity and have to replace it? Because that'll be another massive hit on the,
Absolutely.
rates.
So we have 2 things going on right now. We have a request for proposals or qualifications for a comprehensive wastewater management plan to upgrade our 2012 plan, along with the mapping and forecasting growth.
Yep.
So that, we're moving forward with that, and choosing a consultant. And then currently we have our consultant that has done a lot of the design historically. Face Bluffton and Thorndike is now Stantec, and they designed our facility and a lot of our infrastructure. So they are currently working on a flow and loading study, and we've given them all the numbers from all the proposed developments. And looking at forecasting what those impacts will be at our facility. So, you know, when will we encroach on that 80% consistently? Because once you hit that 80%, it's a trigger to upgrade.
Yep.
So I have a question, and, you know, I forwarded some of that to you about all the housing development that's going on. And obviously, we have to be concerned about our capacity.
Correct.
So is it possible to deny housing licensing, however, it could be 40B, it could be regular, if we don't have the capacity?
You would have to do a moratorium across everything, any interconnection.
So that would be any type of housing, including 40B?
That would be any type of
Development.
development.
Yeah, anything,
Right.
any type of development, yep.
And,
And we would also, in order for the state to essentially allow us to do a moratorium like that, we would have to show consistent progress towards whatever our issue is. So if we've reached capacity at the sewer plant, we could issue a moratorium across all development
right,
with us showing progress towards
what kind of progress, I guess, or how would you?
design of a new treatment plant or an upgraded treatment plant, pursuing funding opportunities, things like that. Because the state won't accept just, we're not gonna allow building ever
Correct,
again.
I do understand that.
Especially when you're talking about, you know, affordable income housing, 40B projects. They don't want to hear, we're just putting a moratorium on because of that project.
I
because of
realize the caveat there would be,
Yes.
no.
Yeah.
And can Massachusetts in any way force or hold us liable? I'm not sure how, if I'm posing the question right.
With affordable housing, yes, they essentially would, if we were to deny a permit, it would go to the Housing Appeals Committee, which is appointed by the governor, and likely would not go our way during the appeal, and then the town loses all rights. The project is approved at the state level, and they move forward.
Do we know if any other community has done that?
Not successfully,
Right.
yeah. It's not successful typically.
And also, we don't want to see us hit our capacity,
Right,
right? And that's why there's an 80% threshold. So once you hit that 80% threshold, the state can actually step in at that point and issue a moratorium for you. But it's a different department. It's not housing, it's DEP
right.
can do that. And
What is our capacity now?
our capacity,
Well, we're not at 80%.
no, so we do hit the 80% mark. You know, our flow fluctuates so much because some of it's influenced by rain, inflow and infiltration. It's influenced by peak use at peak times. So as, you know, it fluctuates up, sometimes it goes over 80%. Sometimes we've gone over 100% in our daily capacity, but in the end, it averages out. We have a 4.2 million gallon per day annual average, so that's a rolling average. So once you average that out, we stay below that 80% currently. So, you know, sometimes we're down in the summer, we're down at the 50% mark. So we're looking at the numbers and we're trying to forecast where we will be with any of these developments and then all of them.
And are there any like state or federal programs that fund or partially fund upgrades like these at all?
So they typically will loan you money to do at low interest rates.
Okay.
Yeah, there's an organization called it used to be called Mass Water Pollution Abatement Trust, but now it's the Clean Water Trust.
Okay.
And typically the loans are like 2%, you know, and that's through the organization. State sets aside money for that, but it's an application basis, so.
But it's all a loan. It's not. There's no like.
Completely alone.
So
Okay.
there's no
Right.
state aid, that was my question.
Typically
So if we
not.
need a new waste treatment plant, we wouldn't get any state aid per se.
Not necessarily. I mean, you know, depending on who your reps are in the legislature, you know, they can try to sometimes put in money in the state budget, at earmark funds. You're not talking millions, but you know,
Something.
some support. But you will see, probably this year, a project for the wastewater treatment plant with the upgrade of our aeration system, which is, you wanna talk about that a little bit, Tim?
Sure, so the other part of our capacity issues is biochemical oxygen demand and nutrient loading. So we only have a certain threshold for that right now, and we're typically consistently over that 80%, sometimes over 100%, and as well as TS, total suspended solids. So our aeration, we upgrade, will improve the aeration and allow for more oxygen demand, increasing that capacity for the concentration of the sewer. So it's not flow, but it's more the concentration of the sewer.
Okay.
So it allows for better treatment, more efficient treatment. And then it also includes nutrient reduction, so reducing the amount of nitrogen that's actually getting discharged out to the bay.
Okay.
So that project, it was estimated at around 6 million. It's probably a little higher now. So we'd like to go for funding for that and get that project moving and underway and under construction. So it's basically, they call it fine bubble aeration. So it's large pumps inside a facility that are piped to a bunch of diffusers and a lot of the large storage tanks, they're aeration tanks, and the air bubbles go through the sewage effluent with oxygen and aerates the sewage.
And is this something like internal to the current treatment plant?
Yes.
So if we had a new plant, it would just be a whole
Probably
new system?
won't build a whole new plant. It's
No,
very
ex-
unlikely
expand.
that we, yeah, a revamp
Retrofit.
of retrofit our existing
Okay.
plant, which is why we would be, we're comfortable
Okay.
undertaking this
I'm
project.
thinking like 6
I think
million.
the-
Yeah, we would
Yeah.
never do that, but it's quite unlikely we would actually build
A whole new, yeah.
plant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you might build some new facilities, say you needed additional aeration tanks or clarifiers, so you could do that and then, link them in series, you'd connect them. So what we do, the upgrade of the aeration facility and would most likely remain for a new upgraded plant.
Okay.
And this is planned for when?
Well, we're looking at potentially doing a borrowing within the next year or so.
So this is currently 100% design shovel-ready. So it's ready to go, just the funding.
What's the timeline on a project like that? Does it take years to complete or?
Yeah, I'd probably say about a year and a half.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be ready for this town meeting to be voted on, is that what you're suggesting? Or
It may be.
Oh.
We're,
you
we're.
mean June or October?
June, we're presenting, long-range capital, recommendations to the select board on March 9th. And, that is one of the projects that's recommended sooner than later.
Well, it's coming up, and you said it's over the 80% threshold as far as that specific piece goes?
Yeah.
So it's kind of needed at this
It's
point
needed,
anyway?
Definitely
Okay.
needed. And for this additional growth, it's needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did get some funding from the state as well for upgrades at a couple sewer pump stations. So we're working on that for capacity as well.
Sure.
For one of the 40B, that projects that's currently under development.
Yep.
Unfortunately, when we advertised that project, it came in about, double what it was estimated at. So the funding wouldn't cover the whole thing, so we rebid it with a deductible alternate. So we bid it with the base station being the most vulnerable, and the alternate being the station that has more capacity, and we're looking to hopefully move forward with that.
Well, you're in a hard spot because you're looking at these things years out and you're trying to predict it, and these 40Bs are popping up one after another, and you can't predict the.
As we
what you're
design
gonna
these
need.
stations, more growth is on the other side, on the upstream side, flowing into these stations.
Can developers be asked to contribute to this?
We can ask. Well, not necessarily the treatment plant itself. If there's pump station upgrades, yes, and we've done that in the past.
Okay.
So, with the preserve on Route 6, they provided some funding. Lincoln Park provided a little bit of funding. There isn't necessarily an obligation to them.
I just thought as part of the give and take that seems to be going on right now with,
We have built some mitigation for mitigation fees through our sewer connection fees for capital expenses. So, you know, we can retrieve some of that through the permitting process. And then, you know, for the large capital upgrades needed for those projects, if we don't have the infrastructure to support that capacity, you know, it can be difficult. If it's a non-40B project, it may be a little easier to ask them or impose those fees.
So, Tim, I
But
have
it's
a
tough on a 40B project.
question. Of course, there's been conversation about Hawthorne Country Club and the housing units there. When they were doing their engineering proposal, were they at all consulting you about what might be needed for these pump stations or whatever? In other words, was that in their scope or was it out of their scope? Do you know offhand if that was taken into play?
So not during their initial design, but then once they submitted their, and first presented their project to the town, after that, they were in contact, in correspondence with us.
They didn't do any upfront planning prior to submitting that?
Not with us, no, nope.
But they have since then, as part of the peer review process.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying,
required it.
Cody, I mean, they present it to the town, the select board, but it's kind of like, you know, incomplete, if you will, because they didn't take everything into scope.
How about the rates? Are there different commercial versus residential rates?
For sewer, but not water.
Not water, okay.
So it's been, when you get into commercial, it's based on size, so you get, your base rate is higher, which is basically your minimal usage rate for that size connection. But after that, the tiers are the same as residential.
Okay.
All right, next up,
Last one
Is that
is solid
sewer?
waste.
what's that?
What do you have there?
It's solid waste.
Solid waste, yeah.
So our solid waste, our solid waste salaries increased to $250,053. And our expenses to $426,850. Hey, yeah. Same as, I think, the increase on solid waste for expenses. A lot of that's vehicle maintenance, where we, you know, like I said, that just a component for a brake job is $5,000. Those are large trucks, and they need a lot of maintenance to keep them working. And that's why we try to add solid waste and recycling vehicles to our capital plan, you know, every other year to keep our trucks, our fleet kind of modern and running to reduce the maintenance.
do you anticipate having to raise the fees for trash and/or the cost of the bags?
We do. Last year, we did a rate study on the solid waste enterprise fund, and it did include additional increases for following years. So we consider our fees pretty low, especially our annual fees. We increase the annual fees, but we might look at alternating, and either we increase the annual fee this year or we increase the bag fee.
As you know, it's a controversial topic.
It is.
You know, there are those who still think that trash should be free. I won't go there. They don't understand the costs that are connected to it. But I do have one question, because it's come up quite a bit. Is there a reason that we chose bags versus stickers?
So bags and the size bags in the, basically, one of the controversial topics is the capacity of the bags and the thickness of the bags. So the larger the bags, the more you can throw out and put in them, and the more solid waste goes to the landfill that has capacity issues as well.
Right.
So with our pay-as-you-throw program with the bags, it regulates basically how much you can throw out based on, you know, how many bags you purchase. And it's really forced or encouraged, I'd say, encourage people to recycle. And rather than throw a lot of that into a trash bag. So if you just put a sticker on a trash bag, you can buy a large black construction trash bag, right, at Lowe's, and put 5 of those out with 5 stickers, as compared to, you know, the small and large bags, the orange bags that we have.
I
So-
think it's an area, an opportunity for education, because there seems to be so many questions around it. I mean, I understand what you're saying, it's about use, you know?
Yes.
You know, maybe I put out, 20 bags a week in my household, and Patrick has, 1.
Yep.
And he's paying per,
Yeah, so, you know, there are different outlets you can use. We also have our food waste, you know, so you can, food waste bins at the transfer station, or in some parts of town, they do curbside for additional fee. And that, you know, that takes a lot of weight out of your trash and out of the landfill. Tons. I mean, we've saved tons by that.
How is that going? Is
It's
it
going great.
increasing? Yeah?
Yeah, since its inception, we started off with 2 carts, similar to the city of New Bedford. So look at the number of their population versus ours. They weren't getting the use, they went down to 1 cart. We went up to 3 carts. And those carts are full every pickup.
Wow.
good.
Yeah, and I think the last, you know, we were a ton higher this past month than the month before, so it continues to increase.
Good.
And since the inception of the pay-as-you-throw program, we reduced our solid waste going to the landfill by 40%. And that's consistent throughout the years.
And what is the capacity of that landfill now?
Oh, 12 years,
Well, without
without the extended cell.
without it?
Oh, with
it,
the cell, yeah.
Yeah, with the cell. So as is, they were like 5 to 6 years.
Right, you added.
And then they're working on extending a cell that'll give them another, 6, 7 years.
All right, that's good. Do you have any idea, and I know it's predicting the future, but people need to,
500 to 1,000% increase in our disposal costs if we
Thank you.
did not have
500
You're saying
to,
if we didn't,
1,000% increase, yeah.
Right.
We pay, the disposal cost would at least five times more.
Wow.
people need to
Tonnage, yeah.
understand that.
yeah, we're very, very fortunate.
It's a scary thing to
Very
understand,
fortunate,
but still.
Yeah, we went up to how much per ton this year, Tim?
28 whole dollars.
$28 a ton. You're lucky if you work with a private hauler, you're probably $225, $250 a ton
Wow.
to
Wow.
dispose.
Wow.
And we're at $28 a ton.
And then outside of that extra cell, is there any room for expansion, or are we done after that?
There hasn't been any real conversation at that point. They're continuously looking. They're
Yeah.
doing a great job up at the refuse district.
Yep.
So they're always looking, but their primary focus is the cell that they're working on right now, and they're going to consider other options at that
Because,
point.
I mean, they're looking at the business park over there. I mean, at that cost, expand the landfill there, because talk about, that's crazy.
The tough part of that is because you have to go out with such a large footprint to be able to get the capacity with the slope, So it's acreage.
Yeah, there's not a lot of active landfills left in the state.
Yeah.
And who's the poor state that's getting this
Ohio.
stuff? That's all I could think of when he was talking. It's like, poor
A lot of
Ohio.
it's being shipped to CMAS, I mean, that's where a lot
Yeah,
of people are.
CMAS, they incinerate, you know. Incineration plants, but, you know, the state doesn't, they're not permitting any incineration plants, you know?
Yeah,
Due
so
to- due to
more
air
regulation and less,
Yeah, more
less to
regulation.
do with it. No one wants an incinerator, no one wants a landfill, but nobody wants to pay the increased cost. You know, and it's, gotta do something.
Yeah. Unfortunately, eventually, we're gonna have to pay that cost, but hopefully with this expansion, gets approved, we can, you know, extend that life quite a few years.
10 or 12 years, sadly, will go by in a blink.
And we paid $25 a ton for, since we started this pay-as-you-throw program, so.
28's not bad, we'll take it.
So 20
Better than 225.
Yeah, very much so.
Any other questions on, solid waste? No? Tim, maybe you want to just touch base on, I mean, we don't want to go into too much detail, I guess, but maybe just a little bit on some of the capital requests. I mean, not, you know, obviously, because CIPC hasn't, you know, met yet on that, but maybe just like a brief overview. You don't have to go into like a level of detail that you would
Absolutely.
at the CIPC, but maybe just like a brief.
So basically, we're, you know, as always, as every year, we're looking for some additional funding for road maintenance. We didn't, you may remember last year, we didn't get anything funded for road maintenance. So we're, you know, we're using down our funds, and I think we're probably looking at another, hopefully another $4 million year this year. I try to get as many miles out of that as we can for road construction, and, you know, somewhere hopefully in the million or below $1 million spent.
How do you
On top of that.
prioritize, how
What's
do you prioritize the road work that you do?
So one of the big triggers is Eversource gas work. So as Eversource is going and doing their work, we always forecast for the next year to reconstruct those roads. So we're using the cost-sharing money from Eversource, and then basically they pay 50% of the road reconstruction, and then we put in the rest of the 50%. In some other municipalities, you'll see them just pave half a lane, which, you know, you don't want to see that in Dartmouth. Nobody wants to see that. And especially if the road's in really poor shape and you get one new lane and one really bumpy lane. So a couple of the roads that were under moratorium when they were dug up, like Slocum Road, so they'll be paying that entire cost for repaving that area from curb to curb all the way to Route 6. So we'll be working on that. And other than that, we do have a road maintenance program that we use. It's an asset management program. We use Beta, and we run reports and look at the road surface rating for a lot of our roads, and we'll choose additional roads through that rating as well.
Imagine the feedback you'd get if you only did one lane on Slocum Road.
Can you imagine?
Ouch.
And then we also been, you may have seen, we've done some micro surfacing in the past. We did some of that on Allen Street. Years ago, we did some on was it Old Westport Road and Chase Road? We're taking that and we're moving that into some of our residential subdivisions that you don't have as much heavy traffic in these subdivisions, and if we can go in there and crack seal and put down a micro seal surface, it's a lot less cost than a mill and overlay or a reconstruction. So we just did that in a lot of Marymount area. And unfortunately, we had programmed the entire subdivision, but Eversource had a couple road openings they were planning, so we put two of the roads on hold, but it seems to go over pretty well. A lot of residents were happy with it, so.
So that longevity is different? Is that the,
So I think lawn, depending on the amount of traffic, vehicle traffic that you get, so it's a wearing course, so, it'll wear more in a high-traffic area. And we've done it on Slocum Road. So years ago, when we reconstructed Slocum Road, then when 5 years after that, we came in and we micro-sealed, and that actually added longevity to the surface of the road. So, but I think it'll last even longer in residential areas that don't get the traffic, so. So we're putting some of the funding into that this year, as we did last year. And as always, we'll go around with a crack seal project to help maintain some of the roads that it'll stretch out before we have to reconstruct those roads. So we have over 200 miles of roads, so if we do nine miles a year, it's not really making a lot of headroom.
you've done some major roads though, so, and I guess the roads I travel on, so it
think
looks like a lot of road has been done.
Yeah, our main goal is to keep the main thoroughfares, in good shape. And then with additional funding, we can get all the smaller roads and collector streets.
Good.
And on top of that, we have a couple projects we're looking at. Both the gas company and water work was done on Bridge Street, and gas company did some work on Middle Street. So those roads aren't just go in there and mill and overlay. We're looking at kind of a streetscape reconstruction, sidewalks, curbing, and reconstruction of the road from Elm Street to Middle, and then from Bridge over to Prospect. And we also have a project on the tip that it's kind of stalled right now, but we're working on moving it forward to reconstruct Dartmouth Street to Howland from Prospect, so.
I just feel obligated to say this because that's all South Dartmouth.
Yeah.
Any plans further north?
Crossroad was,
Crossroad, yeah, Crossroad.
People
is-
ask.
We don't care.
Yeah.
We're very happy about
That's a-
Crossroad.
What's that? Yeah, so
Very
Crossroad, we overlaid part of that from the gas work, but the section from the assisted living over to, I think, Vincent Street near the fire station, we're working on a TIP project, a State Transportation Improvement Plan project, and we just amended their contract to 100% final plans to finish the 100% plans and submit that to the state. We've been working with them in the state going through this project. We had the design public hearing over a year ago, and we're hoping to get this project shovel-ready. And although it's higher up on the tip, if we can get this shovel-ready and there are other projects that can't move forward, we may get a spot. So that's what we're hoping for the Crossroad project.
the Route 6, Tucker Road and Hathaway Road reconstruction is expected to start in the fall.
That'd be fun.
Yes.
It's gonna be interesting.
They still show the plans at 75%, but I assume that'll move up to 100% pretty soon.
Is that through MassDOT or?
Yeah, that's through the tip as well.
And is there, I know at one point they were talking about like eminent domain, are they gonna have to do that, or are they gonna use what's existing and?
They went with an alternate design
Okay.
to not go forward with
Okay.
that. The town would have been on the hook for that taking.
Okay. We have
Yeah, so
another-
it's just Route 6 from Florence Corner Road to just east of Hathaway Road.
Okay,
And then actually includes the replacement of the Pascomanset River Bridge
okay.
culvert.
Wow.
So it's not changing the intersection that,
It's not gonna change it in the sense of, the initial plan, which was where the North Library was at the time, that's not happening.
right, that would have taken,
They're adding a.
you would have had to take property, I would
Yeah.
assume, to
Yeah,
do
at
that.
the end.
They're adding a light, at Hathaway Road, I believe, right?
Oh,
Some
Thank goodness.
lane expansion and,
Yeah, that intersection's been on the, dangerous intersections list for many years, so that'll increase the safety of that intersection. And then they're improving the intersection at Tucker Road, to to allow for more storage west of Tucker Road, so.
If the housing gets built up on Hathaway, then yes, a light would be,
Yeah.
oh my God. If you didn't have a light, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Tim, do you know off the top of your head what projects that money has been allocated for are still in process?
More money.
So from previous town meetings, are there projects that are still, that are not completed yet? If you don't know off the
Yes.
top of your head,
Yeah.
you can get back to me on
Yeah,
that.
there was the Center Street, Roger Street projects that we started the design, but one of our engineer that was working on that left, so we just picking that up again. So
Okay.
we're gonna move through that, get that designed so we can move forward with those projects.
Okay.
So
If
those
you could
also,
think
those
about that
also
and let-
include sidewalks and curbing and reconstruction.
If you could think about that and let us know, town meeting members seem to ask that question
Yep.
quite a bit, when it's already been allocated, is it done? So,
Absolutely, absolutely.
Terry, didn't you have another question about grants?
Yeah, I wondered if, I had sent you something about the culvert grants. How are you doing, like, when those grants come out with everything that you have to do? Are you able to apply for them and?
So we've applied, I think, a number of times for a culvert replacement grant. We actually did get awarded for design funds. So we went out and did a feasibility study. They did a lot of the work on, and submitted it and ran out of the funding. So the following year and multiple years after that, we kept applying again for the culvert replacement grant for that same culvert to actually do the construction, and we didn't get it.
Oh, dice,
We,
okay.
we had, we had a few, we had done the Hawthorne Street culvert, and then we did that was a full replacement. And then we did repairs on Old Farver Road at the Copacabana River and the Shingle Island River culverts. So those were funded by grants.
Okay.
So, I think we're currently working with a consultant on an asset management plan through a grant, again, so it's an asset management for stormwater, which is specifically for culverts, and then sewer collection. So hopefully we'll look at conditions of culverts throughout that program, and we'll be able to prioritize what culverts need work. And, so that's, along with that, we're also working with the same consultant for a water quality study. And not for drinking water quality, but water quality as a whole.
Okay,
And that's through ARPA funding.
Thanks, Tim.
You're welcome.
Tim's gonna be presenting to the capital group
Yeah.
Okay.
coming up, so.
So other than that, we have,
Overview here with the.
we do have the aeration project on the capital plan for a request for funding. We have a lot of projects, we have, our grinder that we grind all the wood chips, similar to that generator project. We just spent a lot of money on it to find out that the conveyor needs to be replaced. That's a $40,000 conveyor. So that alone, without the labor. So we're looking at about $50,000 to get that. Right now, it's working, but it needs to be replaced.
Do you ever think like, oh, maybe I'll have a month where I don't have a major problem?
Yeah, right, there is, yeah.
Like every
That-
time you turn
I can never
around,
think that, because as soon as you think
Yeah.
that, something arises.
like every
So-
time you turn around, there's something else.
He has too many things that can break.
And that grinder costs more than that generator. That's
Yeah.
a $900,000 grinder.
Jeez.
Yeah,
$900,000.
$900,000.
And is that the biosolids chipper thing?
Yes, yes.
Oh, so we might not even need it, so just sell
Right,
it.
so my plan is to put the money into it now, try to keep that running and see what we need, because if we go a different direction with the biosolids, we might not need to grind to that finite mulch that we do now.
Yep.
but we might need a chip, we might want to keep a chipper to maintain chipping the residential brush.
Sure.
You know, but maybe not to the extent that we do now, so.
Sure.
Yep, and then we have, we have vehicles, solid waste vehicles, recycle vehicles, plow trucks. We have a couple plow trucks on there that don't require a CDL. So we started looking at that when we had a number of vacancies in our CDL drivers, and we couldn't fill the driver positions. So we started looking at non-CDL trucks, similar size to our CDL trucks. So we have a couple of those, and they're great, and we can put a labor in them.
What's the difference?
It's basically the brakes and the brake system and the weight. So it stays under a certain weight in the
And
brake
that makes
system.
it so the licensing or whatever is different.
And they can still utilize a plow on it. And
Yep.
Yeah, no, understood, because it's hard to get those people with that.
It is. So now we have some versatility, and we're building some more of that as well. We haven't seen much movement on the requirement for electric vehicles, where, that went last in January of 2025. It got pushed off to this past year, and I haven't followed up on it, where they were restricting anyone from purchasing, municipalities from purchasing diesel vehicles, unless they purchased an electric heavy-duty vehicle.
Oh, yeah, wasn't there something
Remember
with
this?
credits?
Yes, so once you buy a vehicle, you get a certain amount of credits. So you might get 3 credits, and you can buy 3 diesel vehicles once you buy one electric.
Okay.
So we were gonna buy a stake body electric to put towards purchasing diesel, solid waste, and recycling, because the solid waste and recycling vehicles don't have the range.
Yep.
So it's almost a 2-to-1, and they double the cost.
Yeah.
So where you're spending $450, $500 on the solid waste and recycling vehicles, it's $900 to $1 million for an electric one that has that doesn't have a full range, so you need to buy 2.
We're a
to
big
equal
town.
One.
I know.
There's a lot of road.
That's right. It's not feasible sometimes to change.
So, other than that, we talked about our water treatment facility upgrades. We do have, through the Fons Connor Road to Hathaway Road Route 6 project, they do have to do some work to the water main and able to replace that culvert for the Pascagoula River. And we did design the replacement of the water main throughout that whole project. So we just, again, looking for funding for that. And that was estimated about a year ago at 1.2 million.
We've asked the state for funding on that, haven't we?
We did, yes. Yep,
Yeah.
to create capacity for additional housing, increasing that pipe size, but we didn't get it.
Good.
We got to get the state to like us more.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, anything
You're
else?
very welcome.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Yes, thank
I feel
you.
like we always pepper you with questions, but we always learn a lot, so we definitely
so.
appreciate
You do.
appreciate you
Thank
coming
you.
in.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know somebody asked a question about recycled goods, what we're paying for them.
Oh, I did. It was part of the solid waste
Yeah.
series of questions that I had.
And I do have some papers that I couldn't get actually totals of what we paid today, because Munis was down, because they were doing an upgrade on,
In the morning.
and I do have some POs that we have for different vendors that, if you want to take them.
We may, no, that'd be great. We may come back to you when we write our letter to the town meeting to
So we,
a few DPW fun facts.
Yeah,
That I think
absolutely.
people need to see.
yeah, and we work a lot with the district, with the refuse district, and they help a lot with finding these vendors or outlets for a lot of these recyclable goods, like the mattresses with Hand Up. They actually recycle the mattresses. I don't know if you've seen their facility.
They do with them.
They actually, they take them, they cut all the fabric off them, they recycle the fabrics. They take any metal, they recycle that, and all the products, they recycle separately. And then anything within a certain time frame after being purchased, there's a small window that they can actually sanitize and resell.
Sorry, it's a little frightening.
I wonder why the mattress was lumpy.
But, so I did visit the facility, and a lot of their stuff that they're reselling is like that purple mattress. I don't know if
Oh,
you've
yeah,
seen
yeah.
that. Well, somebody will order it and say, "Oh, I don't like it." Right? They use it for a week, if not. And then the company won't take it back.
Okay.
So basically, Hand Up will take it, they'll sanitize it and resell it, so stuff like that.
I figured those types of things were either sold at a heavy discount or something when
Yes,
somebody,
it is.
tries it for their whatever trial period they have.
Going to Ohio.
Oh, God. Feel-
But another question was comparing the cost to other communities, what they're paying. And I know with the communities that use the landfill, I know that the district works with us. But outside of that, I'm not sure of cost. We'd have to do a study on.
And that's never done as a group of towns working together. It's always done where the town handles that individually.
Right now it is, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just curious
Yeah.
if there's ever a cost savings, or if it even makes a difference whether, we can group with, I don't know, pick a town, Westport or whoever to,
Yeah, sometimes regionalizing will allow for sometimes better costs, But a lot of the recycled goods, they just cost so much to get rid of, nobody really wants to take out plastic bottles or our tires, and,
no, it's horrifying, the waste that we create. I know there's no easy solution.
yeah. We hit a snag over this past summer where Republic was on strike, Republic Solid Waste Services, and they run the Brockton processing facility where a lot of our recycling goes. So they actually had the Teamsters were actually picketing and didn't want anybody crossing the picket line. So we were looking for other outlets, temporary outlets that were actually more costly.
Were they on strike a long time?
Yes, they were
Great.
for months, yeah.
I think you do a good job of managing the resources that we have,
Yeah.
the relationships
Definitely.
that you have with people around you, with the recycling program and all of that.
And if you look at our transfer facility, I think it's a larger, and we offer a lot of recycling opportunity that you don't see at other facilities, so. We offer a lot, It's good, and it keeps it out of the landfill.
I
and
don't know, I'm an avid
Hopefully off the
recycler.
side of the road,
Off Lucy Little Road in the
off of
woods.
Lucy Little. Yeah.
Thanks, Tim.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
All right.
So, Madam Chair, town administrator update was really nothing new for this
Nothing
week.
exciting's been happening over the past week.
Lots of exciting things, but I think the biggest one's probably the Ion Water, which Tim.
Oh, yeah,
talked
that's
about.
true, that is big.
Did a nice job of getting that out, the team did, so, and, water bills should be hitting people's mailboxes soon.
So the truth is now, we don't have to actually call to get the actual account number. Apparently, there's a link.
Right,
There
we
is.
created a whole
Yeah.
page.
I
Yeah.
read today online,
great.
I was waiting, I didn't need to know right away what my water usage was.
We have Chad, who's the WIDS with these little tool programs, so as long as we can get him the data, he can create the little tool to make them work, so actually you just, as long as you have your water account number, put it in and it'll populate your account number with your customer ID that you can use to create
No, those are
your
very
Iron
handy.
Water log on, it's great.
I have a little device on my system at home called Water Hero.
Yes, I've heard of it. Yeah.
Very handy. No, it's a mechanical device as well as a software device. But yes, I can look up right now to see if somebody's running the shower.
But can you hit the stop button?
Yes.
No?
Oh, no, I have it set. So so if you go away on vacation,
John, aware of this, so that you can.
well, he installed it.
Oh.
I mean, you think
should've
I
known.
installed something on our water main?
Should have known.
We had a couple of friends who lost a major part of their houses due to a water main break in the house
Yes.
when they were away. So this way, it alerts you if the water runs for a certain period of time, and it will automatically shut it off as well, because it's right on your water main,
Wow.
coming into the house. It's a little more expensive than what you're suggesting for that program,
Yeah.
which is free.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I've always shut my water down when I go away. You know, if nobody's staying at the house. And I grew up like that too. My father always said,
Makes sense.
before you go, I have to shut the water off, so everybody use it now, you know?
Yeah.
Better safe than sorry.
Oh, no, it's,
And a lot of times, it's like the washing machine or something like that, and
no, it's important information to know, especially if you're away for any length of time.
yes, yep, so you can just go on your phone, bring up the app and look at, and see if it's actually running. It's great.
Good.
And hopefully our water bills, the quarterly bills will be going out sometime next week.
Good. Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So just next on the agenda, a reminder to the committee that on 3/5/26, we'll be having the Dartmouth Public Schools in. Jim Kiley will be in to present the budget. And also, just an update on where we are with capital. We'll be meeting with the various departments, and then Tim will be in at the beginning of March to discuss capital with the CIPC. And those, as the committee knows, are televised now, so everyone can watch those at home.
Also, as a reminder, everyone, as we did with Tim, it would be nice to give questions to Mr. Kiley ahead of time versus having him show up and we ask for, a 5-year study on comparison costs between whatever.
Yeah, I think it worked out well, sending them to me, and then I can send them to Tim, and Tim, in that example,
Yes,
send them to
no,
me,
no,
and
we'll send-
send them to
yes.
Jim, and then he can respond, and we'll send those
Yes, so-
the responses back
People
out
are
to
really looking for information on the school committee budget, on the school budget. They did present it at the last school committee meeting. So
Right, no, that
you
was a
can-
good
you can
overview,
look at that and
absolutely.
see if anything is concerning to you or if you have questions. He's talking about 7%, and I think that's because they're including what they need, and then we're just going to have to talk about that. It's higher than it's been in the past, but I would say that's why.
Yep.
Good night, Tim.
All right, good night.
All
All
right.
right.
Do we have anything next week? Is there?
So, I guess we can talk about that, right? Next week, we don't have anything, I guess if the committee has anything that they need from either myself or Cody to present any additional information, but I think right now, we're in good shape to maybe skip the week. I know we don't want to
Those
skip
are
weeks,
words
but
that just send a chill down my spine, Gary.
I mean, I think that, there's really nothing new right now until we meet
Get it.
with the schools,
Yeah, no, I know.
and we hear what the schools have to say, and then we come back with a final, a draft budget, because we still need to go through the draft budget in total. That's.
So I
something
wasn't
we
here
can-
last week. Have you looked at all the other smaller departments? Have people looked at those budgets yet?
I sent those to the committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
We did
Those were sent.
briefly, it's a lot of information to look at in a very short period of time.
So what I envision is that the schools come in, we have the same, we allow one meeting with the schools, and then we also wanted to invite in Voc. We wanted to invite them in. So my suggestion was that I think we talked about this, having them at
Did.
the following meeting.
Oh, okay.
So
I don't
that'll
think we had a
be
date. Okay.
March, we can look at the calendar right now, so we'll be meeting, so if in fact we were to skip next meeting, we would be meeting on the 5th with Jim Kiley.
Mm-hmm.
We could potentially have Voc in on the 12th, but I would suggest that, as we did tonight, we allow one full session for the schools.
I agree.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
Of
I think it's a
course.
little too
mean,
much if we start
they're
mixing
both-
other departments.
It's a complicated budget like the DPW is, so there's always a lot of questions and
material.
whatever.
And then we, on the 19th, we have a draft budget that we can look at in the total, in the aggregate. And that's pretty much in line with what we have for the calendar.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think we have anything that pressing at this point in time that needs to be done. I am going to wait, and this is to address your question, Terry, or comment that you had sent to me about the Dartmouth Finance Committee handbook. I'll reach out, I have copied the moderator a couple times. I will reach out to get a direct response before we upload that to the Finance Committee webpage. 'Cause it's.
I did have one suggestion on it, to take her email out and put a general reference that if somebody's looking for the moderator, to look on the website or talk to the town clerk, because she may not always be the moderator. And
True, but, I look at that as a working document, too.
Okay.
I mean,
so it could be updated later,
yeah,
you
it's,
thinking? Okay.
it's 3 pages, so I don't, things might change in it. I don't know, hard to
Yeah.
say. I'll ask her, actually. I mean, that's a comment. That's certainly her input. Maybe she doesn't want it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. That's a very specific,
That's the only, I think it
Email
looks very
address.
good. I think you did a great job with it.
well, it was your brainchild, Terry, so I think it was a group effort amongst everybody and their input.
Reads very well.
What was the other thing? Oh, I sent the notice out about how we have to take our tests again, our educational courses. Did you see how the split was on who'd done it and who hadn't done it?
That would be me, right? I haven't.
Well, any
done
of us that have been here for any length of time,
it. Yeah,
because apparently we weren't on the new system where we got automatically notified.
yeah.
Whereas the newer folks in the last maybe 2-3 years seem to get notifications from the state about retaking it.
Well, I'm on the capital committee, and now the capital committee is interviewing candidates, so I'm really glad I got on before that started, because I don't think I would have been chosen,
Why do you say that?
because I don't know anything about capital, really, not a lot about it, but I'm learning a lot there.
So we are meeting simultaneously, obviously, with the Budget Advisory Group, too, so we have another meeting coming up. And then we've also got the tour scheduled for that group. That group's gonna go on the tour for the
We
treatment
don't
plant.
have a budget advisory meeting before the tour, do we?
We do, we have one scheduled for the
24th.
20.
I saw that, but I
Yep.
didn't see anything referencing it. So, okay, so it's definite?
Yeah,
All right,
and
it's
what
on my
we've asked,
calendar.
not yet, but we've asked Jim to come in to talk about his budget and also the fixed cost, because I know he's gonna put that together for us. So I've reached out to him. I think he might be on vacation this
Okay,
week.
good. And then the tour's still on, and you'll send that out
The
to?
invite will come out tomorrow, actually.
Oh, okay, good. That's fine. I have that on my agenda, too. And everybody knows about the tour of the, right, we talked about it last week.
March 2nd?
Is it second or third? I forget.
It is the.
Cody, you don't have that memorized?
We'll find out
too much
tomorrow.
going on.
Yeah, I know when the email invite shows up. I'm going to say it's the third.
Yeah.
It is the 3rd at 8.
Yep, it is, 8 AM.
Okay, so we have a meeting next week for,
Cody, could we talk to either DCTV, or I don't know what other technical people might be available to address the screen problem, because it really is a problem. I mean, working in this room is a good thing, but that is
Yeah,
problematic.
we can see. if
I know,
DCTV can
it
look
might,
at
it might be hard to fix, but there's got to be something that we can do.
I asked for a capital request last week, Terry, that's in the meeting.
Okay, good.
Didn't seem to be warmly received, but I thought I'd throw it out there. Because apparently it has to be moved.
Yeah,
The camera has to be moved back.
the projector, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
the
that's,
problem
that's
was
the
when
issue.
When they did it, access wasn't great
No,
when they
I
did this
understand.
room over. So that wasn't an option. So this is a special projector that is able to project closely. There may be some setting adjustments that they can, but we'll inquire.
But yeah, it is, it's not great.
The screen doesn't seem to be wrinkled at all.
It
but-
isn't, it has to do with the positioning of the display somehow.
That's the reservation.
Well, especially when we go through like the Schedule A and have all those numbers on the screen.
That's why I have to see it on
Like
my,
last year, it was my first year, we were in that room every time, and it was a huge screen, and you could like actually see everything and zoom in on it, so. As we get to that point, I think it'll be pertinent to be able to see the things.
I wonder if we could just not use that projector and use another projector from the table.
well, you've seen it, I'm pretty sure you were in the meeting when we had the TV. The little dilemma we'll face on that is if we do have a couple of Zoom meetings over the next couple of weeks,
Yeah, then we won't have
the
that
TV has to
available.
be used for the
But
Zoom
don't we
meeting.
I've been at meetings where they have individual projectors that
We
somebody
do,
can.
but we usually use 309 for that. I mean, we could
Well,
project here somewhere
the
on.
challenge is DCTV is able to pick this up into their feed. So if you notice that they can actually, the screen can be shared into the feed with DCTV.
Oh,
Right.
If we do as a projector that's on the table there,
Oh,
they
right.
can't pick up the feed directly
Okay.
from the
They're actually
projector.
having to focus the cameras on the
Right,
screen.
they're-
Yeah.
always
No.
something. Okay.
No, I know. We have to be able to
We'll-
display
but
the
we'll ask
screen
them
and the
to,
video.
To take a look at it.
Right.
So would you like a motion to adjourn?
Well, just your liaison
Not
reports.
yet.
And, so that would be my suggestion, that, you know, we have Mr. Kiley put together if there's questions for the group, we send it to Mr. Kiley, he at least has the week to work on them. Send them back, and then we regroup at the next, not the next Thursday, but the following Thursday.
Okay,
No, I'll send an email out to everybody to remind them to watch that school committee meeting, so they've got a good background, and that might give them inspiration on what questions to
has he
ask.
sent anything on paper or on his documents yet?
No, but we can share the link. The budget's been posted on their website.
Okay, is that public?
Yes.
I just haven't looked for
Yeah,
it.
can
I
you
watched
send
the
a
meeting.
link out to
Great.
Jim told us where it was on the website.
Yeah.
Send that to finance committee.
That might make it easier to come up with
No,
questions.
people need to look and get some background before they start peppering questions, because my experience with the school budget is it's about 100 pages.
Yeah,
I haven't looked at this year's, might be less, but, or more.
It was always,
Yeah, it's right under 100. I
Like
think,
80?
yeah.
it was always voluminous, even.
that's the challenge with these budgets, is that they, you know, it's less important to say this is a 69% increase, or this is the money. It's more important to put it in some kind of a context to explain to people what's different, what's been accomplished, why is this hit, like the question about the new person. It's a challenge, it really is. Jim does a nice summary sheet, but even that doesn't answer
No, because
questions.
he's got a very complicated budget.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
does hit the highlights, though, of why it might be this increase that he's asking
But
for.
we have to make it available to town meeting, because otherwise you get hung up on silly little questions, you know, so.
We hope the budget book that we're gonna put together this year too, is at least
Yeah,
a
that'd
step
be
in the
good,
right
huh?
direction with a lot of that information. Again, it's not going to be perfect this year, 'cause it's our first year putting it together, it's a lot of work. But I think, it's a step in the right direction, and in subsequent years, it'll really touch on everything.
This is for a town meeting?
Yeah, it's for the public. Yeah, it's for
Well, in
everyone.
general,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay, and it's going to offer explanations on various aspects of the budget?
Yeah, essentially think of like the annual town report that gets put out, but just focused on the budget.
Right,
State of the town,
yeah,
been
To an
talking
extent,
about
yeah,
that
to an
for a
extent,
while.
yeah, Exactly.
yeah. No, that's important, because, let's face it, not everybody loves those spreadsheets.
Right.
Gloria Bancroft used to run a review of the warrant
Yes,
before the town meeting. She couldn't keep that up, and nobody else picked it up. It was helpful for people who.
no, a lot of
who
people
went.
would go to that to just
Yeah.
ask questions, and various people were
I think
there
it's a
to,
great
you
idea.
know,
I
give
was very
answers.
happy to see that.
People need to,
You won't mention something like that at the last meeting,
You will be doing that.
like a night
A
before.
pre-town meeting. We don't have the date set. It'll probably be like a week before or something
Yeah,
along
just to
those
kind of
lines.
get some of the questions.
We wanna perfectly time it so it's after warrants go out, because we wanna include it in the packet.
Yep.
When the date is, but also enough time before town meeting.
Nice.
Yep.
Good.
And you don't want to have it too, where people are like almost forgetting.
Yeah, right, you want it, yeah, somewhat close to town meeting, but, yeah.
no, that makes sense.
Liaison reports.
Liaison reports, anybody at this point?
I don't know
haven't.
any updates. No.
Nope. Anything else interesting? No. Somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I will.
I'll second.
Patrick, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.